How do we ask, what are we, without it being emotional or heavy? I'm not going to be that kind of toxic feminine woman that says, oh, if he wanted to, he would, because that's toxic and we've evolved from that. We've healed our wounded feminine. We're going to look at it from a very sort of logical point of view. So it's not so much if he wanted to make me his, he would. It's more, is his actions showing that he wants to make you his girlfriend? That is the question. So we first have to look at that. Once we answer that, we can then look at the second part. Ask yourself these questions. Is he consistent? Does he integrate me into his life? Does he invest time? Is he showing up for me and holding space for me? Do I feel secure and stable with him, like emotionally and just like mentally? And when he talks about the future, does he include me in those plans? These are really important questions, okay? Because we always need to be checking ourselves. When you're in the beginning stages of dating, you're not thinking logically because your hormones are doing a little dance and you're excited, infatuated, and you're releasing a lot of oxytocin, which is the happy hormone that bonds us to this person. So we need to bring it down. We need to ground ourselves and we need to be thinking critically as a woman, because this is what protects you as a woman. Don't go away with the fairies, all right? We're not here to be Delulu. Those are the questions that you need to be asking yourself before you think about asking him, what are we? And by the way, I don't advise that, and I'll explain why. But here's the thing. The reason why I asked you to ask yourself those questions is because we're going to check, is this aligned for us or is this a mismatch? If you answered yes to those questions, then good news. It looks like you and this guy are aligned. So in that case, you don't need to have this big, heavy chat. Oh, you're just going to do a little check, okay? And I'll teach you how to do that. If you've answered no to those questions, then there's something going on here. You are noticing the inconsistencies and you're feeling a bit vulnerable and you don't know where you stand with this person. So therefore, I wouldn't recommend asking him, what are we? Okay? In fact, I would look at this dynamic healthy to me. Is this connection good for my nervous system? What you have to understand is we want to come in with feminine energy, and feminine energy is magnetic, it's charming. Feminine doesn't do anything. She just sits back, she observes quietly, she sits pretty, she kind of assesses what's going on. She sees, do I feel safe with this man? And take your time with it, okay? Because he's going to feel your energy. While you're doing this, you are going to be evaluating him. And when you're evaluating him, I want you to be a little bit distant, okay? That means not giving him all your time, not spending all your time with him, not always being heavily available for him. The reason why you're going to do this is because these little behaviors in a woman will always trigger the man to step up if that was his true intention. Because remember, if you were to come in and say, what are we? That's actually masculine. That is you trying to control an outcome. That is masculine energy. You're coming in, you're doing things.